Well, hello, Erin Elizabeth coming to you from Mysteries in Penrith, Australia for your weekly reading. So let's get straight into it, shall we? And as I'm preparing and connecting with Spirit for these lovely messages or, the meaningful messages that need to come through for you and all of us today, perhaps have a reflection on how the last week has been. And did you think about what it is that you need to do to feed your soul? So, moving into this week, on the back end of the Feeding Your Soul week, let's have a look at what's in the cards for us as a collective message this week, being the 2nd of February 2026. So we start with conflicts coming to an end, those hardships, those sticking points, those people not playing fair, potentially getting seemingly to get what they want, but at a cost and not at a good cost for them. And perhaps that in reflection, you might see where that sits in your life and your behaviours and what you've gained as a repercussion of your own actions, whether it be positive or negative. But conflicts coming to an end. It's been difficult, it's been unpleasant, but you can say bye-bye to that now, and that is your choice. We can always continue on with the energies if we wish to, hold on to the baggage, hold on to the hardship, hold on to maybe the indignation that we've felt as a result of how we've been treated or perceived to have been treated. But I'm telling you, the energy of this week is now about letting it go. So we'll see what else comes up to build on that. And we've got the Ace of Cups. So new love coming in, new passions, new connection with what makes your heart sing. And there's a heart-soul connection. So what did you do last week for your soul that connects you back in with your hearts? There's still a little way to go for some of you, all of us potentially. There's more on offer. There's more on offer. There's a little fear about what that could look like, or am I worthy? And the fear can come off the back end of, is this over? Is the battle over? Because when we're still in warrior mode and defense mode and putting our barriers in place, we can be resistant to trust the new goodness that's coming in for us in our life. So that is something to consider. And as always, we'll build the story. And it's considering that you walk away from things that no longer feel good. People, places, and things, behaviors. Have a journey into self. Give yourself that permission to know yourself on a deeper level, honor yourself on a deeper level, and feed that soul. And it really, really flows in from last week in the feeding of your soul. That newness. Let's turn that up in the right way. Okay, just by flipping that, we're changing the vibration of allowing the experience to come in. And I'm going to leave this one here in reverse because it's done, it's over. We don't need to invite any more of that in, other than a reflection of the lessons and what the hell did all of that mean? So let's build this. Moving on with, we're doing tarot today, but 3 different tarot decks, all of which I'm very connected with, and each give a slightly different a flavour, if you wish. Okay, to build the story. 1, 2, and 3. And as I'm choosing these cards, there's a little bit of a break and a pause in there, and that gives you an opportunity in this moment to reflect on the message thus far. What does that mean for you? What additional information do you need or would you benefit from? And that's how the layers start to come into play. So underneath our conflict over, even though it was unfair, is having some patience. Have some patience. Look at restoring your health, body, mind, and soul, and just let things breathe. Give it the breathing space it needs to dissipate. We don't need to match heightened emotions with heightened emotions. In this situation, what we're saying is just let it breathe and it will dissipate. Go out into nature, let Mother Earth absorb that for you and transmute that into light and positive energy, but be conscious about that as well. I'm going out into nature, and the purpose of doing so is to release what is no longer required, to release the hardship that I've felt from the recent conflict or hardship or difficulty, and be patient with the process. It's not going to happen all at once where instantly you go, oh, I just feel amazing. It's going to just tick along, taking off the layers until you then look back and go, oh, actually, I'm feeling so much better. So in relation to our Ace of Cups and our new relationship with self, relationship with another, but it's letting love in and letting love flow, is to also stand your ground. So it doesn't mean you give everything away. You still need to put boundaries in place. I can love like this. It's not conditional as such, but it comes with your own little set of rules about not giving everything away and not taking and absorbing everything from somebody else either. Finding the balance, but standing your ground. And just because you love someone doesn't mean that you owe it to them to do everything that they want for you. You need to put some boundaries in place and speak your truth, and your truth will become stronger by, going back to this one, having a journey into self. Having that journey into self, and I know why I grabbed this one now, having the patience. Just have some patience. Not everything is going to be resolved all at once. Now, in relation to this card here, the Eight of Cups, the walking away from things that no longer feel good, giving yourself permission to do so, is recognizing where the heartache and loss has been so that you can release it along your journey. So the journey into self is about recognizing those things that you are hurt by, how you feel hurt, and the reasons behind that. What are the reasons behind the hurt, so that you can learn more about yourself to not repeat that lesson? Because I can see from here, the lesson has had some unpleasantness about it. But unless we are stirred up, we're reluctant to change. Even if we're not happy with the way things are ticking along, sometimes we just put up with things because it's easier. There's been a stirring up because things need to change, and you need to consider yourself more so you can show up the best that you can for you, and therefore you're showing up the best that you can for others. But it starts with you. And now for our final layer from another tarot deck, another favorite of mine. Let's see how we can deepen each of these messages. And again, just use this time to reflect. Okay. The Six of Wands is all about being recognized for your efforts and the hard work that you've put in and being celebrated. It's a card of victory. It's a card of success. So when you recognize that the fight is over and treat that situation and yourself with some patience and some reverence, success comes. And then you're recognized. And that recognition isn't necessarily needed, but it helps to validate that you approach the situation in a pleasing way or in the right way, where you let it breathe, you let it go, and then you can be recognized for, wow, look at how they handled that. They didn't get caught up in the whirlwind. They didn't get caught up in the fight. They didn't continue the conflict beyond what was necessary. Someone had to end it. Someone had to say, you know what, no more. I'm not putting any more energy into that. So the success of that comes. And so you can see how we're building the story here where, the conflicts have ended and you go, that's great. Oh, that's a relief. Yeah, but what? What next? Do it with patience, and the success comes from that. So this is why I do the layers, so you can see why that step is necessary or why that thing is happening. What do I do about it? And what is potentially the end result if I follow that pathway? And for some of you, it'll be like, no, when I follow that pathway, because I have faith, I'm listening to this message, it's come across my pathway, I am taking the message into my heart, into my soul, and actioning it. It's your choice, though. And the Seven of Pentacles. We've got the Seven of Pentacles here, which is really about reaping what you sow, putting your back into it. Hard work gets rewards. But you might need to reflect on the pathway that you've come to see how far you've come to give you the energy to continue on. And so that sits right underneath this Ace of Cups with this new love and passion being reignited within you. But recognizing that you need to stand your ground and have some grit and determination, but knowing that you can get there because of you know how far you've come before. So, looking to the lessons that you've had before, looking to all the lessons, what it's culminated into and what you've gathered, so that you've got this sort of stockpile of resources and tools and knowings about what you're capable of to put into the new situation. And this last one here, where it's recognizing where the hurt sits and the need to have a journey into self and walk away from things. You've walked away from the things that don't feel good. Continue. It's like, you need this double message. It's the Eight of Cups again. It's shown up twice. The journey continues. You need to stay there for a little bit. It's not just an hour away or a day away. It's a journey. This is the word peeling back the layers sort of keeps coming in. You need to peel back the layers. What's underneath? What's underneath that? So it's recognizing I feel this way. What am I going to do about it? Why do I feel that way? Oh, okay, I understand now. Great. But wait, there's more. There's another layer. There's another layer. There's another layer. And it's going to keep happening until we get back down to the core of who you are and your belief system and what's important to you and valuing yourself, because you are going to stand your ground in the matters that are right for you. So this is kind of a really gritty reading where it's like, okay, now that last week we honored our soul and we're looking at feeding our soul, that was to give us strength, knowing who we are, what we're capable of, what we say yes to and what we say no to, what's okay, what's not okay. So that's going to show up in the coming week for you, and it's up to you how you respond, but there's a few messages embedded in here that you need to have a little bit of grit and determination, and knowing that when you do stand your grounds, but you do it with patience, you will be successful. So be patient with yourself in this. So you might respond in a way where you're standing your ground. You might not see the effect of that immediately. It might take a little bit of time. So that's not for you to then go, well, that didn't work. Why would I even bother? Nobody even recognized that I was standing my ground and put my barriers in place. They still tried to railroad me. Give it some time. Okay, it's like all this little knitting of networks needs to happen in the backgrounds and make it stronger. So keep standing your grounds and that network becomes more solid. And as I've become accustomed to, I like to do an oracle card to seal the deal. And this one today comes from The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. So, standing your grounds, letting go of the conflict, having a journey into self, knowing that you'll be successful if you follow the message and the advice. I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. No, maybe I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. And so all of this brings you back to a greater knowing of self. So I leave you with that message. And as always, take what resonates, tuck the rest away, be willing to pass some of these messages on to others if it shows up in the lives of those people around you and you feel like they could use a little bit of advice or help or a little message. So have yourself an amazing week, being strong, standing your ground and having patience with the process. Big love from Mysteries in Penrith. Mwah.